What is up, sister friends? Welcome to another episode of Heart to Heart with Coach Emily. I am super excited. I am recording today's episode from 1/1/24. It is officially New Year's Day. When you'll be listening to this, obviously it'll be later on in the week, but I hope everybody had a wonderful New Year's, feeling good, feeling excited, feeling energetic for 2024. December was amazing. We had two amazing women come on to the podcast, Ashley Mergler and Bree Guzman. If you haven't had a chance to listen to those two episodes, I highly encourage you to do so. They complemented each other so well, and they both have beautiful, sparkly energy. So I'm excited for you guys to check those episodes out if you haven't already. It's been a whirlwind. Obviously, I haven't done a solo episode in about 3 weeks now. And December was obviously crazy with the holidays, but I was sick back to back. Then the Red Devil hit me hard, and it was just a rough month. But coming into January, I'm already feeling super energetic, super aligned, ready to rock and roll with all the new things to come in Full Circle Coaching. And it's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one. And for today's episode, I was toying around, with the idea of like a goal setting episode or talking about intentions for January or for 2024. And I think those are all beautiful topics. But I think that they're also something that if you're an entrepreneur or and you're in the fitness space, about goal setting, how to set goals, how to set intentions. But I think it's important to always reflect and be able to have the discernment to see what season you are in. I'm going to put my blinds down. I'm literally being blinded right now. I feel like I cannot see. Which is a lot because goal setting, how to goal set. How to set structure for yourself for fitness goals or business goals, right? But the thing I think we all struggle with most is that energetic piece, right? Hence me starting energetic scheduling and Full Circle energetics, because there's more to it. And so today I wanted to talk about kind of my different words of the year. And then when I'm able to reflect on them, I understand the energy that was present at that time and why I decided the words that I did. And when I decided the words, if you've never done word of the year is something I didn't make it up. Tons of people do it. But I heard about it through my friend Heather. She told me about Word of the Year. I never had heard about it before. It was back in 2019 that I first heard about this. And it's basically like an intention or something you want to bring into the new year or what you want to live by. And I usually pick a word that I feel like I need more of in my life or something I really want to embrace in my life. And back in 2019, my first word of the year was fearless. And when I picked that word, it was the beginning of 2019. I also got divorced in 2019. And January is when I picked the word fearless. And when I look back at that word and why I picked it, I picked it because I kept feeling like I wasn't living my life to the fullest, that I was settling, that I was staying small, that I was just kind of like just getting by, doing the day by day, And I was like, okay, I'm going to pick the word fearless and I'm just going to just do every single thing that makes me nervous and scared. And it just started with small things like wearing super dark red lipstick, getting my septum pierced, like little things that made me nervous, things that made me think like someone's going to judge me for this, or I'm going to get backlash. Because Emily, one of my good girl myths is harmony. If you've never read the book by Maho Malfino, I refer to this book a lot. It's about breaking the good girl myth within yourself. And one of my good girl archetypes is harmony. Like, I don't want to stir the pot. I don't want to ripple waves. I grew up in a home where waves were rippled all the time, or however that phrase goes. And I just like to keep things peaceful. And so I was tired of living that way. And so I picked the word fearless. And it just, like I said, started with small things. Exploring in the ways that I dress led to me doing the bikini competition. And then whenever I pick these words of the year, and I feel like you guys will notice this too, the more you reflect on this, God gives you the lesson for that word that you weren't expecting, right? And I've talked about this before on the podcast, but my divorce was something unexpected. It was like the rug had been pulled under from me, and it was really challenging. And I really did have to step into that fearlessness because my life completely changed. And that word fearless propelled me to this moment. Like, I will never, I'm surprised I don't have it tattooed on me. I used to wear all my fearless, freedom, and focus were the 3 years for those first 3 years after 2019, like 2019, 2020, 21, that were the most transformative in my life so far. I mean, I'm still transforming, but as I reflect back, that was a lot of change in those short 3 years. And fearless was the catalyst to that. And this is like, it's so powerful, honestly. And because intention is everything, right? Like the way you go into something, the way you are looking at something, what you're trying to bring into it. I was like, bring on the fearlessness, and God was like, you got it. He mirrored it in a way that I didn't realize that I needed. And everything was like leading up to this moment. And it was exactly what was supposed to happen. I am so grateful that it happened. And I'm so thankful for the hard times, because it has made me wise, and it has made me more understanding and have different perspective. That's what life lessons are. The messier, the more of a blessing they are, because when you come out on the other side, you are stronger, you are better, you are wiser. And fearless was exactly what I needed. It was the most powerful word of my life to this day, even out of all the rest of the words. Then I picked the word freedom because I wanted the freedom to choose my life and create it myself. And that was when I moved to Colorado. And that was, when I met Austin. And that was when I started my business, all of these things. And so then it was focus after that. And focus was all about focus, like dialing it in, like not losing my sight on the target, which was making my business the best I could make it, be successful. And one thing I will say, I'll toot my own horn on this. When I say I'm going to do something, I do it. I give it all I got. I don't care if my face is in the mud. I get up and I do it again, and I'll do it again. I do not quit. And having that intention focus made my business boom. And it did really, really well. For me, in my definition of success, everybody's different, right? Like, but for me, I was like, holy shit, I am freaking doing it. And each of these words were things that I wanted to really bring intentionality to really bring into my life. And so as you're walking into this year and you're thinking about your goals and you're thinking about what you need, I would encourage you to look back at the energy from the past few years, because I picked freedom because I had all this openness inside of me, and I didn't want to weigh it down by anything. I wanted the freedom to choose. I wanted the freedom to be. I wanted the freedom to discover. That was the energy that was available. Then I picked focus because the energy that I was feeling was this heightened sense of like, let's get it done, right? Or if you are in the spiritual, like self-development space, I'm assuming you are, if you listen to this podcast, it's that masculine energy, right? Like structure, get it done, make it happen. And focus, we all love when we get that energy because we get so much stuff done. But it's hilarious how energy works. So after a year of focus and just trying to make it happen and giving it everything, my word of the year for 2020, I'm missing a word. Faith. I'm like totally missing 2022. I'm like, what was 2022? 2022 was fearless, focus, fearless, freedom, focus, faith. Faith was 2022. Wanted to dive into my faith after all this year of focusing and all of this energy that I was bringing, building up this business. I needed to lean more into my spirituality because that's a huge part of who I am and what I believe in and how I operate. And then, so masculine energy, then we go into more feminine energy, faith, and wisdom. And knowing the energy that is stirring within you and being able to listen to it and see what it's saying is very important. So then I had 2 years of more of this like feminine energy, like letting go, maybe a little less structure, moving through things a little more slowly, faith and wisdom. Now I'm moving into power, which is a more masculine word. And the energy that I'm feeling though for this year is like, we've taken the time, we've taken the rest, we've regrouped, we've reassessed, we've learned a lot of lessons. It's time to dial it back in again. And with each year, you learn something more and more and more about yourself. And power is something that I am leaning into because I want to embrace the power that has been given to me by God, but also stepping more into my power. I've always been someone who shies away from those things and maybe will like, I'm not sure if I'll share that, or maybe, yeah, I'm not good enough, things of that nature. And so power is fully embracing that, like stepping into my queendom, stepping into that energy. And that's the energy that's been stirring in me because I spent all of this time, these past 2 years, with faith and wisdom. And so I think that it's a beautiful way to look at your life through the energy in which is being called from you. But if you're like, well, Emily, I don't even know what my energy feels like. I get it. And maybe DM me and we can talk a little bit more about your specific situation. But it starts with that reflection. Like when I decide my word power, I didn't just like, it wasn't just something that I pulled out of the thin air. I like thought about it a little bit. Like, what do I need? What have I been working through? What have I been assessing within myself? What does the past few years look like? And I do feel like power is bringing the same energy that fearless was bringing, like big changes, big things. And that also means things that I will not expect will happen. And that's okay. I've been through a lot of them. So I feel like I can handle the next one. But it is noticing that within yourself, right? And sometimes it is you need that more softer years. And I don't even like that word softer, but it's like less of that fire and metal, right? And more of the water and air kind of thing. And if that makes sense, like talking about energy in elemental form kind of gives us that, like, that's what it feels like. And you can use that to kind of assess yourself. And one thing that is really helpful for me as well is journaling. So I have so many journals, it's ridiculous. But journaling is a great way for me to really get into my body and like just pour out thoughts. And then it gives me clarity on what's actually going on, right? Because when you like first start journaling, it's like all these things that you feel like you should be journaling about. And then you keep going and keep going. And like the true essence of what you want to journal about comes out. And what you can do while you're going year by year, setting these intentions, is you can reflect back on those journals and see what old you was going through, what you've learned now, and how you want to pivot from there. Because in my eyes, every year, and I think all of us feel this way, but I really see this as a blank slate full of opportunity. And I also see the light and the darkness. This might sound a little morbid, but every year before New Year's, I almost like prep myself. I'm like, bad things are going to happen. Maybe really horrible things are going to happen. It's life. And I almost like do this like mental prep for the bad things. I don't know what those bad things are, and I'm not trying to manifest them. I'm just acknowledging them as someone who participates in this life, that bad things happen. And I kind of give myself this little talk, like knowing the truths about myself. Like, there is nothing I can't handle. It's okay for it to be hard. It's okay that you'll be sad sometimes, right? And I do this little like prep for myself. And the first time I voiced that I did this was on my old podcast with Becky, the Unqualified Life Coaches. We, if you want to check us out, the episodes are still alive and well on Apple Podcasts. But I was like, I do this thing, and I don't know if it's like a self-protective thing, but I think with the new year and like stepping into it, like we have an opportunity to like talk to ourselves the way we need to, be that friend, be that mentor to ourselves, coach ourselves of like, it's not always going to be easy. You're going to have hard days, like lean into your strengths, hold on to what works well, set this intention so that we can come out on the other side. Like 2023 was, yes, a really shitty year in some ways, and also the most beautiful year of my entire life because I got to marry Austin. My nephew Colson was born. Like, so much beauty and darkness at the same time. And this is one of the reasons why the yin and yang side is so important to me, and is the logo for Full Circle Coaching, because we cannot have one without the other. And knowing that there will be really hard times, this year, I don't like to share bad things, but I was betrayed. I was lied to. I was bad-mouthed and harassed, and I had to lose a lot. I had to endure some bad days, but that's what makes all the brightness so bright, because of that bad stuff. Like you have so much gratitude for all this good things. So before I get off on a tangent, I just wanted you guys to, I wanted us to step away from like how to goal set as a fitness entrepreneur to let's like really get to know ourselves. Let's really understand what we actually need, understand our own energies, and lean into that with everything we got. Because when we do that, like I trust my energy so much. Like it's saying, bring the masculine energy, bring the fire and metal, be powerful. I'm like, okay, let's do it. Last year was like, you need to learn some lessons. You need to, right? And so wisdom was the word. And so knowing these things, like really sitting with yourself and assessing them is going to be so beautiful, 10 years down the line, that you reflect on all these words and you reflect on your growth, and you can continue to dive deeper into that energy, and you can dive deeper into what you need, because you know you best. When we work through this conditioning, we work through those layers, we come on the other side as this freaking just star in the sky, So these are just some things that I think we could all benefit from. So like I said, some great ways to get started: journaling, reflecting, time alone, quiet time. Even if it's not today, right? Like this week, this weekend, just because you didn't do this on 12/31 doesn't mean you can't do it now. Like there are no rules here, right? We're just trying to show up as our best selves and continue to be our best selves whenever we can. Austin and I are doing this. We named it January Excellence, but it's for 90 days. So not sure why we named it that, but 90-day excellence, I guess we could call it. No alcohol. Like we have a whole list. And part of this is because, one, we did something similar last year and we loved it and it worked really well. And then we also used it as an opportunity to be like, what do we want more of in our lives? And how do we want to connect and be together and work on our spirituality? And so we're using this as an accountability tool, but also like setting that tone for the beginning of the year. And I can say with, like last year when we did this, it really did set the tone and really shifted some perspectives and the way that we reacted to things and interacted with things. And it was really great. So if you're looking for that kind of structure, one, I would say feel free to join our Energetic Ladies group chat, or R, it's mine. I always do that. I talk in third person. But we're doing like a little energetic consistency collab situation where we're really trying to get more in tune with who we are and what our energy is saying on a day-to-day basis. And you can use that to help you get kick started for January. The other thing, if you didn't listen to Ashley's podcast or Bree's, it's kind of ironic that they both are on sober journeys. And at first I was like, I'm not going to bring this up. People have a lot of opinions on alcohol, but actually, you know what? I don't care anymore. When I was a vegan, people had a lot of opinions on what I had to eat, and they said them anyway. So I'm not saying like I'm trying to bring that negative energy, but I do think this is powerful. Ashley and Bree both talk about Ashley obviously on a more extreme end, Bree on a less extreme end, removing alcohol from their lives. And I think that's something like dry January is a thing. So I feel like we can talk about this. Dry January is a thing. And I think it's something you should explore, because alcohol, when you drink alcohol, it actually, we all know it's a depressant, right? But also, when you drink alcohol, it takes you farther away from your spirit. It takes you farther away from your true self. And if you are someone who's really trying to dive deep into your energy and grow as an entrepreneur and be more self-connected, removing alcohol is a really great step to take. So that would be something else I would recommend. If you have questions or you're feeling nervous about that, feel free to reach out to me. I did this last year and it was so helpful. I'm doing it again this year because it's so helpful. I'm not saying that we're taking alcohol out for the rest of our lives, but assessing that relationship and making different changes is huge. So just something to pay attention to. The other thing going on too, I am hosting, I don't know if this is the right word, but I am launching a scholarship for energetic scheduling. So one female fitness entrepreneur who is looking to feel less overwhelmed, wearing all the hats in her business, looking for more guilt-free time off, wanting more productivity hours in her week. This is for her, or if that's you, right? So I'm going to give away my 5-session mini pack, which will include 5 one-on-one, 1-hour energetic scheduling sessions, a human design reading, 3 schedule edits, and 24/5 access to me, as well as 1 optimal custom energetic schedule. If you have questions on what the hell energetic scheduling is, or you're like, I'm not really sure if that's for me, just shoot me a message. I'll get you in the group chat. You can get a feel for the group, get a feel for what energetic scheduling looks like, and then we can go from there. I will put the link to apply in the show notes. If you need help deciding on your word of the year, I would be more than happy to brainstorm with you. It is really, really fun to kind of walk through that with each other. But if you do know your word of the year, please share it with me. I would love to hear it. It's going to be a good one, guys. I thank you all for listening to this podcast. I'm pumped. This is the first podcast episode of 2024. So I'm excited to share more this year. If you have any ideas on like what you would like to listen to more, please also shoot me a message about that or leave it in the comments. I hope you guys have an amazing day, and I will talk to you soon.